Spring Break 2019. We've grown up a little bit, grew up watching MTV Spring Break.
And glassy. It's gonna hit 85 and the surf temp's gonna be 75. It's a day to lay your buns in the sun and put your tires in the sand. This is Bo Richards reminding you not to get too fried now. The tanning index is gonna be a 10, and there isn't a cloud in the sky. Keep it where you got it for all the best music. We've got Starship and Mr. Mister coming up right after this.
Welcome to the beach. It's Easter weekend. I'm pretty amped. I'm stoked. We're here in the state of Washington. We got the recipe for a fun day. We got some choice beverage. We have some choice snacks. And we're just ready to get the party started. I don't see a lot of people yet.
Is it the right time?
Yeah, it's spring break. We did this week. It's spring break.
Okay.
It's the weekend. We got the day off.
Right.
We came to the beach.
Yeah.
We have alcohol.
There's sun.
There's sun. It's cold. I'm waiting for Pauly Shore and a spring break crew to show up at any moment.
Was that killed? You guys like that guy? You want to check him? Come with me.
Maybe some sort of wet t-shirt contest. Not that I would be interested in one, but
whoever has the best, hardest chest wins.
spring break's not quite as fun as the commercials made it seem. So, after a little internet research, we figured out there might be some differences in Daytona Beach and Washington State in regards to their spring break. The temperature difference, and another difference is if you're hunting for some clam on Daytona Beach, it's probably on the back of a Harley Davidson and has leathery skin. And in Washington State, you're going to need some shovels. Let's see if we can dig up something fun on the beach. Okay. Okay. Oh, oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh, never done this before. Oh, wow. Okay, this is kind of fun. Oh. What'd you expect? It's full of sand. It is full of sand. I have sand. All jokes aside, you can't just go clam digging on Washington State Beach. We're not residents here, and there's like all kinds of season restrictions and beach restrictions. And if you're going to dig clams, you have to have a license, and since we're out of state, that's an expensive license, and so we didn't actually dig any clams.
So for those in the adult world, we don't really get a spring break. So our day-to-day is being stuck in the office, and you're limited to the weekend. This is all you've got.
No bikini babes, no jello shooters, no fireworks.
No tanning.
No tanning, no people, no parties, no DJs, no Pauly Shore, no MTV Spring Break weekend. For most of the country, this is what you're going to get. And we're broke. So, no Cancun for us. After some careful consideration, we arrived at the conclusion our spring break beach failure may have been due to our neglect to get into proper shape. Our next step logically led us to another Washington location, Starvation Heights in Olalla.
So, prepping for spring break, you want the beach bod going on, you gotta start some sort of diet maybe, because you're a little self-conscious, still have the winter weight.
Bulk season.
So, what diet do you choose?
Keto.
Atkins?
South Beach.
Vegan?
Juice cleanse. The DJ Tanner.
That's so bad.
You're lucky. Dogs don't have to wear bathing suits.
What was the other one? The Scarlett Johansson.
No. So while we might not be able to do any of these neat diets, we thought the next connection point for our real life spring break activities is here on Starvation Hill.
Is it a hill?
So Starvation Heights.
As you can see, it is a cemetery. If you can't see, I will point out the headstones surrounding us.
So in the 1900s, early 1900s, early 20th century, however you want to think about it, there's this lady who wrote a book who was not a medical doctor, but did offer some medical advice. And she swore up and down that you could cure everything from cancer to diarrhea and anything else by starving yourself.
Her name was Linda Hazard.
And Linda,
Listen.
came into some money after she wrote her book, and she was a little bit of a celebrity. She was a little bit of a Dr. Oz of the time, and she, I don't want to say tricked, she convinced enough people to come to Olalla, Washington, to her sanitarium. And sanitariums were very popular at the time because people thought you could cure your tuberculosis by enjoying the fresh, clean air. And as you can see by these trees and everything, there's a bunch of fresh, clean air here. So the thought of combining a sanitarium experience with fasting, she thought that she could cure anything that was out there.
But the twist was that she actually believed it, like homeopathic treatment for anything was starvation.
And she believed it to the point where 40 people starved to death. And some of them are buried here in the cemetery called Starvation Heights.
So the original house where she brought all these people for treatment was destroyed, so we unfortunately can't visit that site, but this is still open to the public because it is a cemetery.
Way back in about 1910, some of the local kids who used to live around here used to think about Miss Linda Hazard as kind of like the old witch on the hill, because what they used to see was these starving patients who were being treated. They would walk down into the town, sometimes begging for food, and they would find these people just walking around like skeletons as the kids were playing in the woods, and the kids used to be terrified.
Like real life zombies almost, which is pretty weird.
So it's really sad, but I also understand it. There was no Google, there was nothing to fact check this woman, who was not a doctor. Even today, people fall into the trap of crazy pyramid schemes and pitching snake oil that doesn't work. So I can fully understand how this could have happened, well over 100 years ago.
Another twist was that she targeted rich people, rich, wealthy people, to come all the way over for treatment. Some of these people didn't even really have ailments, but they swore that they did, and no doctors could treat them, so they were trying to reach for someone that could help them out. The reason why she reached for wealthy people was because before their treatment, she would have them sign over their wealth and their estate. So she originally started these treatments in Seattle, Washington, and before one of her patients passed, he had signed over his estate to her, which was in Olalla. So when she moved from Seattle, she took up his estate.
So this originally was not called Starvation Heights. It used to be called, I've heard Whispering Heights, and I've heard Wildlife Heights. Mm-hmm. But the original name is not Starvation Heights. That's what it kind of got termed after the treatments that were going on here and people were starving to death.
I think.
She did actually go to prison at one point for a few years, and then when she got back out of prison, she actually got convicted, and she was kind of a part of another investigation where there was a mortuary in Seattle that may have been giving some of its bodies that were not so skeletal to her, so that when the families would come see, the bodies didn't look so ghastly. So there is some question as to whether some of the bodies were just burned here or pitched over into a ditch, and that they were traded for bodies in Seattle so that they didn't look so bad, because a lot of the patients here just really looked ghostly skeletal.
So one lucky individual actually kept a diary during their treatment, and towards the end somehow escaped and went to a hospital, but he kept a list of the things that he did throughout the day, throughout his treatment. They did serve meals sometimes.
The meals weren't so much meals as a broth. They would get a tomato soup, which was just basically tomato juice, warm tomato juice and some water.
Or asparagus.
Or some asparagus water, but they actually didn't get real food.
And it would only be like one small cup once or twice a day, or maybe not one day at all.
And the feedings were kind of negated by the multi-day enemas.
Turn over on your side.
Oh my god, wait. Okay, it's in.
And now I'm going to turn on the water and you're going to feel a little pressure.
Yeah, it's good. Real good. You can turn it up a bit. All the way. This ain't my first butt blast. Oh, you know what, LaDon? Turn it down just a little.
It's what she believed in, which I think is hilarious. Not hilarious, it's really tragic. But it is a little funny because people in Hollywood still today go to get colonics and enemas and all kinds of stuff like that. So this starving yourself and getting enemas, it's still around today.
She also said that part of the treatment was walking long distances every day, which is why the kids in the nearby town would see like skeletal people, because she would send them to walk miles and miles on no food, basically.
Yep. But the crazy thing is people were here willingly. But the willingness kind of turned into a little bit of unwillingness, because when you got here and you spend all your money and you have nowhere else to go and you're so weak that you can't hold your head up, it kind of borders on, is it willing or unwilling? But she did have a little bit of a cult of personality, and a lot of people said she almost could entrance people to stay around. So there's kind of a little eeriness about it, and certainly 40 people did die here from being starved to death. So our Washington spring break has been a little bit of a bust. Not quite the Cancun party all night, drink all day experience we've been looking for, but we did get to experience some starvation.
We did.
And the beach. Some beach, some surf, some starving ourselves. So I think we kind of tied it all together.
Step onto the cooler.
That'd be a funny reveal. Oops, dropped my beer. A little cold out here.
Up, grab a stick of juicy fruit. The taste is gonna move ya. Take a sniff, pull it out. The taste is gonna move you when you pop it in your mouth. Juicy fruit is gonna move ya. It juices soft, it gets right to ya. Juicy fruit, the taste.